Someone I do want to talk about where we are right now, but the story really does start about 4 years ago. In October 2020, over 50 former Intel officials signed a letter dismissing emails found on Hunter Biden's laptop. They said that these emails showed, quote, all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. So fast forward to this year, the laptop was used as evidence in Hunter Biden's gun case. You're now calling on Attorney General Merrick Garland as well as FBI Director Christopher Wray to investigate those who signed this letter. So talk about that for us. Where are you and what was in that letter?
Yeah, what I did was after looking at the whole incident with the laptop and seeing in what happened in 2020, as you described, that this laptop was assembled and put together allegedly by current Secretary of State Antony Blinken and numerous other CIA agents, former agents, contractors, people working in the agency, people still retaining high-level security clearances with the CIA. So presumably under still under the umbrella of the rules provided by the agency for employees. And that's where a little bit of the gray area is. But what I wanted to do is find out, why would these people come forward? I know a lot of them are political partisans. They definitely were not supporters of President Trump. But all of this content was used and manipulated, and the FBI actually shut down a lot of it. They shut down the New York Post site when Miranda Devine put out the information about the laptop, and they came up with these letters. And my concern is, does this violate the Hatch Act, and is it election interference? Is it politicization of the agency or this information? And then later to say that they've all reversed their positions, and now we're using the contents of this laptop to prosecute Hunter Biden after years have passed, and the statute of limitation has been allowed to expire on a number of claims, particularly some of the information that came out that could have been corroborated, a lot of the work done by the Department of Justice over the IRS scandals and the IRS problems that Hunter Biden has, and his link to Joe Biden when we're dealing with Burisma and dealing with these other entities that are linked to Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and the family. And so I want a full investigation from Merrick Garland. Open this up. I want to see all the information, all the evidence as to why they did not prosecute, or why, and tell me that all of these 51 former intelligence agents, people who are still have high security clearances, many of whom are still contractors with government, and presumably under the same rubric, how are these people not committing a false statement? And secondarily, how are they not violating the Hatch Act? And why isn't Merrick Garland the Attorney General? And why isn't Christopher Wray? And why aren't isn't the head of the CIA doing something about this? And that's what I asked for, is a look into this under those two particular sections of federal criminal law.
The letter in part did read this, quote, we want to emphasize that we do not know if the emails provided to the New York Post by President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, are genuine or not, and we do not have the evidence of Russia involvement, just that our experience makes us deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in this case. So they said explicitly in this letter that they weren't certain about Russian involvement. You're saying that caveat isn't enough.
Well, they've continued to go on and call their act of what they did patriotic. Patriotic in what way? What do they mean by patriotic? Patriotic because they were trying to obstruct the election of Donald Trump? Patriotic because polls actually showed that had the contents of this laptop been allowed to be disseminated to voters and people across the United States, particularly in those swing states where it was cut off by the FBI, where the FBI actually had an interaction with the former owner of then Twitter, now X, saying that this story can't be, this is disinformation, it's an attempt to undermine a democratic process. These are all things that were put on Twitter and on social media to prevent this information from going to the American public. And yet polls showed, had the people known about this type of information and the Hunter laptop was valid, there was damning information in there and potentially criminal information in there against Hunter Biden, linking him to Joe Biden, that they would have voted for someone other than Joe Biden. They would have potentially voted for Donald Trump. And with an election in 2020 that was decided by less than 44,000 votes, if you take the three swing states, that is consequential, and that is an interference with the election under the Hatch Act, which is the second provision that I claimed, interference and politicization of someone that should be working within government.